Hello and welcome to the final episode on this series of Synlab podcast. So far, we've been discussing eating disorders and sustainable eating habits. We have learned a lot about food, about just how important it is to healthy living, and interestingly, how we can have dangerous relationships with food. We've learned about eating disorders, the kind of eating disorders we have, the things that cause them, how they manifest, and even how to handle them. In this final episode, we're going to be talking more about how to maintain these sustainable eating habits that we've been talking about. And the first thing I'd like to ask is, in a society that glorifies, dieting, body image, you've talked about triggers like social media. We're in the age of social media. How can somebody, what are the best strategies to maintain healthy eating habits in this? How can you stay away from an eating disorder? And even for people who have struggled with eating disorders, how can you, recover from such, given the society
diet
where,
culture.
yes, the culture we're in?
Okay. The first thing I would say is the diet culture says healthy means thin. That's what the diet culture says.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you go on social media and you see anyone projecting that to you, you unfollow for your mental health. That is it. You just unfollow that person. Follow people that place emphasis on eating for health and not just eating for body size. We even have so many influencers that will show you their flat belly, show you their shape, and they'll tell you you can achieve this and you have to just buy this. Once you buy this, you're going to have this kind of body shape, That's a red flag because you don't even know how long it took them to get there or whatever they did to achieve that. You're going to afford to put yourself on that unnecessary pressure. For anybody coming out of probably anorexia nervosa or bulimia nervosa or coming out of binge eating disorder, the more you follow that kind of accounts on social media, on Instagram, it's reinforcing it. You're just going to relapse. You're going to go back to where you're coming from. So it is better that you protect your mental health and unfollow anyone showing body shapes as a yardstick for health. Body shapes are not yardstick for health. You can be thin and be very sick. And yet you can be very overweight and be healthy. I used to say this a lot. There are a few outliers. There's some people that are very big, on the big side, and you check their blood pressure, they are okay. You check their blood sugar, they are okay, right? They may just have to walk a little bit towards a healthy body range. And losing 10% body weight is all that they need to actually improve their quality of life. They don't have to have a flat belly to live a healthy life. They don't have to have a hollow body shape to live a healthy life. As much as you want to work towards the healthy body mass index, you don't want to have a mental disorder for you to know that you're okay the way you are. So one thing is to protect your mental health. Unfollow accounts that actually portray body shapes as a yardstick for health. Very important.
Okay, and throughout this podcast, we've talked a lot about support systems, right? And how well does that come into play? And how do you build these support systems to help you in your, eating journey?
Well, the first step is to acknowledge that there is an eating disorder. So that's most times ill health that drives them either to see a physician, And for you to build that support system is first of all to admit that you have one. And it should not be disease-drivenness that brings you to that point. When you finally see a physician, then the physician's job is to educate you and the people around you who would act as your support system on the importance of food, the pros, the cons, your predisposition to disease. I always maintain the fact that as much as you know how your body works, the better you are enabled and equipped to make right decisions. So education is a lot. And like she said, is multifaceted. Sometimes you might need to see a psychotherapist who would address the underlying
issues.
problem.
That might be a problem for Nigerians. We don't like to hear therapy, psychotherapists, psychologists. We
So,
feel
well,
like
with the way things are in Nigeria, most
There are
likely
plenty
everybody
of
needs a psychotherapist.
honestly, when you
but
say
there are
that,
actually plenty of
So it's not a big
psychotherapists
deal.
around, That's why for your for most practices, especially integrative like dietetics,
Dietitians
it's
or
important
dietetics,
to have psychotherapists alongside your
the medical
yes, your
treatments.
medical treatments.
Mm.
That helps you have access to support systems.
so
I will also like to add, I've said it before and I will say it again. It's not an overnight job.
No.
yeah.
There will be sometimes that you may relapse, but getting the help that you need to stay on track is what she already talked about, the importance of support systems. Sometimes support groups. I don't know if we have support groups for those with eating disorders like they have in developed countries here in Nigeria. I don't know about it. But sometimes having support groups could also help when you know that you are not alone. You have other people that are
That's
also
right, too.
affected by the same eating disorder. Being in their circle with and getting the right help can actually go a long way. And also having in mind that recovery is not sudden. It's not like this. Recovery takes time, and that will actually help you to be patient with yourself. Continued session with your dietitian, continued session with your psychotherapist. You have to continue to
To see
reinforce
those
the
results.
new information that you're getting. You have to, because if you're not reinforcing the old information, then that means you're reinforcing the new information that you're getting. Do you understand? So the more you reinforce the new information of the fact that you're worthy, of the fact that you're okay, you're perfect the way you are, of the fact that you are healthy, once you achieve that close to healthy body range, you don't really need to go far. You just need to maintain and just
Maintain
keep
it.
moving towards
Okay.
what you
Sorry.
desire.
In cases of hospitalization, to create that support system because they're hospitalized and you're having to do either parenteral nutrition or IVs or whatever it is to give them nutrients to treat their diseases. When you incorporate family into that hospitalization process, they're able to it kind of re-educates their mind to see that this is highly consequential. It is not just food and something menial or something that is flippant. So that process of hospitalization and rehabilitation and rehydration and nutrients, whatever you are giving them, try and ensure that family is incorporated so that they have enough backup from family, friends, and loved ones. And that family or support system needs to be educated that you are too thin, it should not be a problem. You are too fat, it's not a problem. And you are overeating or binge eating. Just little changes will give you the desired results. There will be chances to, once in a while, fall back into the supposed sin. But that's not when to
Stop
yeah,
and
that's
give
not
up on yourself. All right. It's been such an educative podcast, and I've enjoyed this podcast particularly. I don't even want it to come to an end. I feel like I've learned a lot, and I've enjoyed the conversation. So once again, thank you so much for being here, for making this a lovely experience, and for educating myself and our audience. I know that everybody who listens to this podcast will be better for it. It's such a general topic, such a a topic that affects everybody's life. I'm sure everybody can come up with something with from it. Here on Synlab podcast, we have a hall of fame where we like everybody who has been on this podcast to sign. So we like the honor of having your signature so that 20 years from now, 40 years from now, we can see that we had you here. We can farms you in the future. It's not farming. We truly had you here. But thank you so much for being
put a
here.
date on it.
If you want to.
I'll put a date on it.
Okay, you would like to do that.
I'm sure that you guys have learned a lot. It's been wonderful having you two here as our audience. Thank you for sticking with us. If you're new here, I believe that you're going to come back and we're going to have a wonderful 2025. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you next time.
Bye.